So it's a good exercise, but it feels like starting a business from scratch and then liquidating it after 4 to 6 weeks in a way.
Yes, no, it's true, and it is. It's a good analogy, and you're very right about sort of the other benefits that you get from a crowdfunding campaign. Because, okay, the ultimate goal is to obviously get the funds. You don't start a crowdfunding campaign unless you actually need the money. But there are ancillary benefits to it as well. And as you said, for example, one thing is finding the crowd, because yes, you would obviously always have your initial network, but you want to obviously find more people. And the nice thing with a crowdfunding campaign is that every person who backs you, you're going to have their details. You're going to have their name, their surname, and their email address. Obviously, it's only available to the project owner, for the PR reasons and all that. But it is obviously a legitimate way of getting people's information. And yes, you literally have your database right there. And very often this is a database of either first movers. It's definitely a targeted database, because people wouldn't back you if they weren't interested in the project and keen to support the project. So you know that the information of the people there is obviously worthy information. And I mean, I think nowadays data is currency. We're all very aware of the data that we're giving out every time we enter a website, and we have to accept all, or and that's all data, which is so important nowadays. So that is, I think, definitely one of the top ancillary benefits that you get from crowdfunding, in addition, obviously, to the funds. Another one is also market validation. Because obviously not all crowdfunding projects are successful. But either way, you're going to get some kind of feedback. If it's successful, great. You know that your project is successful and it's good and people are interested in it. So that is positive market validation. But even if it isn't successful, it doesn't mean that it's failed, because there are still things you can do to understand why it was unsuccessful. First of all, you see obviously by how much you didn't reach your target, because it could be a small amount, and perhaps it's just that the timing was off. If it's a large amount, then is it the seasonality? Was your tone of voice wrong in the content? Did you perhaps not give enough information for people to understand what the project is about and why they should support you? Did you not market it or promote it? That is typically the number one reason. People tend to sort of think, oh, okay, it's on the platform, it will run itself.
Unfortunately, it doesn't.
Does not work that way, no. And no, this is literally why I tell people you need to run your campaign at a time when you have the time for it. I tell people, if you're accountants, don't run a campaign during VAT season, because you don't have time for it.
No, definitely not.
So there needs to obviously be planning involved. But even if the campaign is unsuccessful, but perhaps you got a handful of backers, you still have their data, you still have their information. So you can reach out to them. You're not going to have their funds, because unsuccessful campaigns get refunded. The backers basically get their money back. But you will still have access to their details. So you can still reach out to them on an individual level, and ask, first of all, obviously you thank them for backing you.
For sure.
But then you can ask them, what was it that led you to support me? Can you give me some more information? And then you can tell them, for example, listen, unfortunately, my campaign wasn't successful. However, can I still keep in contact with you? So there are always elements to keep it positive. There's always a silver lining to any crowdfunding campaign. I don't think there's a crowdfunding campaign that will leave you with nothing.
I don't think so. I mean,
very rare to be literally left with nothing.
At least with a contact,
Exactly.
Or at least with information. So it's the journey that one goes through when because you're challenging yourself. You're challenging yourself to look at the same thing from a different point of view.
Yes.
So how can I sell it? What are the people that I'm trying to reach? How can I market it better? So these are all things that will push you or should push you to at least do some change in whatever you're doing. So I think you'll gain something for sure out of it.
Yes, that's it. No, I think, as you said, you're going to gain insight, and perhaps a better understanding of how people are viewing your product
Yes.
or your service or your project, whatever it is, because obviously we always think that our project is amazing.
In our heads, it is.
Yes, and it should be that
Yeah.
way. Otherwise, I don't think anybody
For
wants
sure.
to launch a substandard project. But, apart from you and your dog thinking it's amazing, you also need the crowd to have that same
Definitely.
viewpoint. So yes, it will give you insight into sort of what the crowd thinks. And you will also get, to whatever degree, you're going to get promotion for your campaign, and you're going to get some kind of marketing for your
Yes,
campaign.
yes.
Because ultimately, this is going to be on a online platform, meaning there are no geographical boundaries. I would say nowadays, even language issues aren't a problem because, okay, the site is in English, but
Yes.
I mean, nowadays,
Most things are in English.
Yes.
I mean,
And then now there are all these, softwares that will translate
definitely,
sites for you.
So pretty easy.
Even language isn't an issue now. So you've got sort of that platform that you can always use.
Step into, yes, definitely.
And then another thing that we offer as ZAR, as part of the ZAR package, is for most campaigns where we can, we also offer a press release, which is basically, it's written by a media agency,
Okay.
and that goes out to the local media, which has a lot of clout and it's very powerful. In Malta, we still follow the media, I think,
Yes.
quite religiously, and people sort of obviously still use newspapers or the online platforms,
Yes,
obviously follow what's going on. And I do notice once a press release has gone out, very often the pledges start coming in.
increasing.
Yes, I get the notifications for each
You tap into
pledge.
sort of like a subsidiary audience to some extent as well.
Absolutely,
Because
yes.
there are people who watch or follow media and there are people who don't.
Yes.
So you tap into a different angle. Perhaps it is the same audience, but it depends on in which funnel they consume it. The media through.
Exactly. And then obviously you have more shareability there as
Definitely.
well, because sort of you might have prepared artwork for socials,
Yes.
but sometimes just a link, which, you can WhatsApp to a group of people.
It's easier.
It's
I mean,
easy.
you have to make it easy for people to support you with a click of a button.
Exactly.
So this, like myself, I'm trying to get a new guest, for example.